Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating framework by Justin K. Lights called Germinal Theory. It is a total paradigm shift. If you've ever felt like you're just constantly fighting against a system, trying to force it to work, well, you're going to want to stick around for this.
Let's kick things off by challenging a huge assumption we all kind of have in modern life. We have this deep-seated instinct that everything has to be rigidly engineered, tightly managed, and forced from the top down. But what if that's exactly why so many of our systems are incredibly brittle and just exhausting to maintain? What if the absolute best systems aren't built at all, but cultivated?
So here's our roadmap for today. 1. The limits of forcing. 2. The germinal stance. 3. The 5 core principles. 4. The recognition pattern. And 5. A timeless philosophy. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The limits of forcing. The illusion of control.
To really grasp this, we need to look at the stark difference between two very different approaches. Leeds distinguishes between what he calls an impositional posture and a germinal posture. Now, the impositional stance treats systems like dead material. You force it, you control every single variable, and you dictate the exact outcome in advance. The germinal posture, though, it treats systems as living patterns. You don't impose your will, you actually work with the material's nature to guide it.
Let's look at a really concrete example. When we contrast a fragile, over-engineered car like the Mercedes C320 with something incredibly robust like an M1 Garand rifle or a Mercury Grand Marquis, the power of the germinal stance becomes super clear. See, the Mercedes is designed for pristine, perfect lab conditions. When the real world hits it, it breaks. The M1 Garand, on the other hand, was overbuilt for actual survivability in the mud and grit of the field. The designer observed the extreme conditions it would face and worked with the physics of the problem. That's designing for survivability, not just forcing a rigid blueprint onto reality.
Section 2. The germinal stance. Cultivating reality.
The mind behind this framework is independent physicist Justin K. Lights. And what's wild is that he recognized this pattern of cultivation not just in his physics work, like his void dynamics model, but literally everywhere. In software architecture, biology, cognition, you name it. The exact same deep truths just kept popping up. Which brings us to the absolutely brilliant tagline, the literal heart of germinal theory. Find the nature, work with it, get out of the way. I mean, it sounds simple, right? But if you fully internalize this, it will completely flip how you approach problem solving.
And here is the crucial takeaway. Germinal theory isn't just another management methodology. It's not some step-by-step checklist for your next project. It's actually an ontological claim. It says that reality has intrinsic, discoverable structures. Any problem you're trying to solve already has a shape, a tendency, a direction it wants to naturally go. Your job isn't to invent a solution from scratch, it's to spot that natural tendency and surf it.
Section 3. The 5 core principles. Actionable steps.
So how do we actually put this stance into action? Even though it's not a rigid methodology, Lights does outline a really effective progression to help us cultivate rather than force. First, observe. Just see the nature that's already there. Second, cultivate. You don't force growth, you prepare the soil. Third, constrain. Instead of micromanaging, just set boundaries so the system doesn't collapse. Fourth, harness. Guide the emergent energy that naturally pops up. And finally, trust.
You can see this play out perfectly in scientific research. The impositional anti-pattern is skepticism. It's rigidly demanding, what is wrong here? Which honestly just produces fear and paralysis, ending up in a dead-end list of objections. But the germinal alternative? That's curiosity. It's openly asking, what is true here? Curiosity works with our natural drive to know, creating the perfect conditions for actual discovery.
Now, regarding that 5th principle, trust, I really want to clarify something. Trusting the process does not mean kicking your feet up and doing nothing. Lights talks about a trust gradient. Basically, trust is a function of distance from the generative essence or the germ of the problem. If you build some convoluted system miles away from the core problem, you can't trust it. But if you minimize that distance and keep your intervention super tight to the problem's essential nature, then you can completely rely on the system to self-organize.
Section 4. The recognition pattern, identifying the germ. Okay, so you might be wondering, how do I actually identify a germinal system out in the wild? Well, think about a chair. You can't draw the perfect ultimate definition of a chair. I mean, an upside-down bucket? Boom, that's a chair. A stump in the woods? Chair. They look nothing alike,
but you absolutely know a chair when you see one. Germinal theory is exactly like that. It's a recognition pattern, not a strict visual definition.
And once you know what to look for, you see it everywhere. Take a blacksmith heating and quenching steel. They aren't actually forcing the metal, they're acting like a gardener, cultivating the exact right temperature and timing so the metal reshapes itself. Or think of a brilliant software architect building a modular system. They're doing the exact same thing, setting up the right boundaries and letting the solutions naturally emerge.
Once you really internalize this pattern, it is literally like putting on a new pair of glasses. You'll start recognizing cultivation where other people just see doing nothing. You'll see constraint before control and trust before fear. Honestly, you stop trying to play God with your projects and you start playing gardener.
Section 5. A timeless philosophy. An ancient pattern.
What's amazing is that Lietz's framework is actually a universal truth that echoes across history and disciplines. It perfectly aligns with Laozi's ancient Taoist concept of wu-wei, or effortless action. It totally mirrors architect Christopher Alexander's living structures, which unfold naturally from a seed instead of a rigid blueprint. It's the exact same dynamic as F.A. Hayek's spontaneous order in economics. And yeah, it's even Robert Pirsig's pursuit of quality in motorcycle maintenance, where you stop forcing the wrench and actually listen to what the machine needs. We even see it on the cybernetic side of things. Legendary systems thinker Gregory Bateson warned against the impositional posture of what he called purposive consciousness, basically the super-destructive habit of trying to forcefully optimize a single variable. Instead, he championed an ecology of mind that trusts the deep, systemic wisdom already present in nature and society.
All these incredibly diverse thinkers, ancient philosophers, modern economists, physicists, they all converge on this exact same deep stance. And that is the ultimate takeaway for navigating complex systems. You do not have to carry the weight of building the entire world on your shoulders. You just have to find the nature, work with it, and get out of the way.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful question for your own life and work. Think about the projects draining your energy, the systems that keep breaking, the teams that feel totally stuck. Ask yourself, where are you forcing when you should be cultivating? The answer to that might just change everything.